evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 6, Episode 3, What Drones Will We See in 2023? Hope everyone is doing well this evening. We're just kind of jump right into it. We'll have the crew join us here in just a little bit. See, we have USA Drone Flyer, Captain Joe America here. Doug Crum is here. Catskills Brad, welcome, Brad. Good to see you. Drone Views Media. Flying Flynn Media, welcome. Lauren is here. Kane C. Crime Fighter, welcome, my friend. SSB73Q, good evening, my friend. Good to see you. Scott Nadeau. And that's Leonard Oglesby is here, and Captain Ray is here. All right. Got a lot to talk about tonight, believe it or not. 2023 is off to a good start. First thing I want to talk about tonight, and it's really kind of interesting for me, is, okay, I saw an article out there that the DJI mic was now on DJI's website. It's not on DJI's website, okay? But I'll show you where it is. This is the standalone. This is just the mic and the one transmitter, okay? Let me go ahead and we're going to share the screen here. I just found this right before broadcast time because I went out to DJI's website and I didn't see it there, okay? Which really kind of surprised me considering an article said it was, and that article's gone now. But guess where it is available, okay? That's the one with the two transmitters, but there's the one with the one transmitter for $219, and it's available at B&H. So if that's something that you are interested in, avail yourself of the opportunity at B&H. B&H has very fast shipping. If you've never dealt with them before, they're very good about shipping. I can say that. They're also good about, they're also good about returns as well too, because I've returned some things, and anything's defective, they'll get you taken care of. They're good to work with. So if that's something you're looking for to put in your workflow, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Just wanted to go ahead and get started with that. Let's see here. All right. We're going to kind of have a part two to what we talked about last week at the end here about drones to expect in 2023. So stand by for that. We're gonna get into that. I know what I want to tell everybody. I know a few of you are ham radio enthusiasts, and I know a couple of you watched me last week on the debut of my first show on Ham Radio Basics Live. Had a great guest on last week. Scott was fantastic. Got about 90 people to view it, all said and done. Had about 8 to 10 watch it during the show, which I'm really thrilled about. I think that's great considering it's a new channel. I do have over 1,000 subscribers, but got to wait for the hours to build up. But I'm really pleased with what we have tomorrow night. It's going to be every Wednesday night. Here's another programming note. Okay, on the second Tuesday of each month, my ham radio club here locally meets, and it's at 7:00 on Tuesday nights. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to try it for a couple of months and see if this works. We're going to either pre-record the broadcast and put it on at 8 so you guys can watch it, or we're going to do a special lunchtime Build a Drone Reviewer on the second Tuesday of each month. Kind of haven't decided yet what we're going to do. I'm kind of leaning toward the lunchtime one. See if I can get some of the crew to join me. That should be fun. It's a little different, but why not? Okay. And then what I would do is I'd probably rebroadcast it at 8:00 that night as well anyway. So that's something to stay tuned about. Okay. I just thought that would be interesting. Now, very interesting article, and it's really, part advertisement, but part article on Drone DJ, 15 best DJI drone accessories. And we're going to go through these. And I know you guys, are pretty good with that. Maddie, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Quadcopters and Tech, welcome. Good to see you. Dr. Ted is here tonight. Welcome. See who else we got. JSK Enterprise, welcome. Way to go, Dr. Ted, working on your tech license. Good job. I'm gonna get you over on my other channel as well too. Wednesday nights at 7:00 Eastern, Dr. Ted. Ham Radio Basics. Okay, that's awesome. You should do well. And welcome, Art. Just saw you in the house. So, okay. Let's go ahead and get that article up here. Okay. Uh, all right. 15 best-selling DJI drone accessories to buy online. Okay. PGY Tech landing gear extensions. Before I get started here, PGY Tech does make some great accessories. I've purchased a number of them. I'm impressed with the quality of them. I did get something for my Osmo Action, my original Osmo Action. It's my tripod and stand, and it broke. They replaced it, no charge. I was very impressed with their service. So just going to get that started off with. Landing gear extensions are always, I think, a good item to get. One of the things early on when when I first got started in drones, I watched some of Rick Smith's videos, and he really emphasized the need to get that camera and that gimbal up off the ground and near where dust and dirt are, and landing gear extensions do that. So that's something I would actually recommend too. Now, Mini 2 360-degree propeller guard set, that's good. Like it says here, if you're a beginner, and if you are a very venturesome soul and want to fly it in your house, and and you're married, good luck. But it does work. I can testify to that. And it's not really meant a whole lot for outside use. It's more inside kind of a thing. But if it makes you feel more comfortable, if you're a new drone person, that would be something I would go for it. Now, there's an FS Labs carrying case. I'm not going to comment on that. PGY Tech carrying case. PGY, like I said, PGY makes some good make some good things. 8-pack Freewell all-day filter kit, $99. That's good. I personally, for me, I don't use filters a lot because one of the big reasons is taking them on and off in the field is problematic. I mean, even in the back of my SUV. That's one of the things. The other one is you can adjust things on the camera settings to really compensate for things and fly accordingly. So, okay. Now that was for the Mini 2. And now for the Mini 3, Tiffin ND filter set, $59. Intelligent Flight Battery Plus. Of course, that's DJI. Aries waterproof hard shell carrying case for $49. PGY Tech carrying case. A lot of these are on Amazon. 35. It says $31.96. DJI Avata Flymore kit for $279. Must-have accessories for Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Cine. DJI wide-angle lens, $179. And that's something, if you're interested in getting that wider field of view, that would actually work. Mavic Air 2 and Air 2S accessories. Batteries, never a bad investment. And one of the things I want to say about batteries, and I think it's kind of important, you'll go out there on Amazon and you will find other batteries. You will find non-OEM batteries for your DJI drones. My best advice is to avoid them. Okay, DJI backs their batteries up with some type of limited warranty. I don't know exactly what it is, but you're better off purchasing OEM parts. And the same thing is underneath that is noise canceling propellers. Okay, again, as long as they're DJI OEM, go for it. I would not hesitate for something like that. DJI shoulder bag for $89. I think we've all talked about our thoughts about that and what it is. Now, one of the things, for all DJI drones, and this is something, well, that's good, Lauren. That's fantastic. I'm glad you've had good success with it. Just for me, it's just a hard and fast rule. I've always, since day one, Drone One, have used OEM batteries. It's just been something I just decided to do since I got started about 6 years ago. So, all right. And strobe anti-collision light for $34. I want to spend a minute on this. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up here, and you can see it's $34. And see if we can bring this up here. They should actually show it superimposed, of course, on an Autel Evo right here. And it looks like they're all about the same price. But if you are flying at night, I mean, you know, this is per FAA rules. You got to have that. That's not optional. $34 is a very small price to pay. It's very bright. It does its job. It meets all the FAA requirements. So that would be something that you would strongly consider to get. So, all right, moving on. Those are some good optional accessories to look at. And again, for me, I always have a tendency to prefer OEM type of stuff. Now, you know, one of the things I can say as far as cases are concerned, I got a Leicas case for both the Mini 3 and for the Mavic 3. Very impressed with them. I think it was $49 for the Mini 3 and $59 for the Mavic 3. And it fits both controllers for the Mavic 3 in there. It fits up to 3 batteries, all my cables, extra props, everything. Mini 3 fits the batteries, the charging hub, propellers, the remote in there. They're both good. They're Leicas cases, Lykus. I'm sorry. I really, really like them, and they're great quality, and they won't break the bank. They're both under $100. So that's some food for thought. All right, moving on here. All right. Oh, I thought I had. Okay. Well, it looks like Skydio had promised a software update. And they had been promising a software update and promising. Well, they finally came through with a software update. Now, let's take a look at it. There's an article here. Again, all the articles from Drone DJ are out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page, so you can take a look at them and all the links in there, okay? Skydio software update brings long-awaited panorama keyframe gimbal roll, okay? Horizontal captures 180-degree horizontal panorama centered at the horizon. Vertical captures a full 180-degree vertical panorama. Spherical provides a full 360-degree equal rectangular image. The final stitched output includes metadata, which allows the image to be viewed in 360 interactive viewers. And there's a cool new panorama live preview used to see a low-resolution preview frame of the shot you've chosen. Another major feature is capture smooth, complex cinematic shots as keyframe. You now have the ability to manually or automatically adjust the camera roll along the flight path while flying in keyframe. Simply use the slider to adjust the gimbal roll from -35 to +35. In addition, the keyframe skill has now been improved to reduce drift and increase accuracy for long distance when loading and replaying keyframes, okay? And there's an example of it right there. It says telemetry information about your current flight is now available in the top left of the live camera feed. All right. So that's an update as far as Skydio is concerned. You know, I know we get called out for, and here's Marcus. How are you, sir?
William, not doing too bad. How about yourself?
Good. Just went over Skydio's new firmware update for this, and it's quite a bit. I mean, they actually did quite a bit for this.
Can't wait to try it. I haven't done the update. I got the drone sitting right down here, right behind me. But yeah, I need to get that done and give that a shot.
I mean, it looks real interesting, and there's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of features. I know they had been saying probably since the latter part of 2022 that they were going to be doing a firmware update, and it just came out. So
right.
Better late than never.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, it's just like we were talking yesterday on Drone Nation about the Mini 2, how it's great that they're still updating firmware and still interested in the drone, and it's the same thing with this guy. They just keep improving it. The main frustration, of course, for people like us is the controller being able to fly the drone. But beyond that, it is an amazing piece of technology.
It really is. It really is. Now, I came across an article which I thought was really interesting. FCC wants more spectrum for drone communications. And, one of the things I want to tell everybody, I'm going to stop right now before we even look at the article. What that means is they want more band. They're going to make more bandwidth available. Okay. Because right now the communications portion for drones, if you look on the charts, including like ham radio and everything, it's minuscule. It's very small. They have a very narrow window. And what this tells me is that we have a lot of good things coming up in terms of drones, not only for us like hobbyists, but they're also talking to, these taxis that you've seen. I know Hyundai has one under development. There's a couple companies in China that have some under development. There's some in Europe with these taxis. Some have actually, done some test flights. So there's a big reason for that. And I'm going to bring this article up here.
Bill, could it be more frequencies for remote ID?
That's also possible too.
See, I said it there. I went there.
Well, yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. So, of course, they're going to need more bandwidth for that as well too. And it talks about here.
Well, hold it. Stop that ad. I need that. Senior Internet, $10 a month.
Senior Internet for just $10 a month. Drones are being operated primarily under unlicensed and low-power wireless communication rules or experimental licenses. Neither of these spectrums provides resources drone users with any right to protection from harmful interference. As a result, reliability of communications using these resources is also uncertain. It's past time we assess the availability of wireless communication resources, the increasingly important remote pilot aircraft activity we rely on today. They want to open up the 5 gigahertz band to drones. Other proposals including exploring 5G as a drone platform and the broader use of cellular bands for drone applications. They're also proposing a way to license drone communications with air traffic control. FCC must ensure our spectrum rules meet the current and future spectrum needs of evolving technologies such as unmanned aircraft systems, which can be critical disaster recovery first responder efforts in wildlife management. I'm sorry. Well, AUVSI, the world's largest nonprofit dedicated to uncrewed aircraft and robots, said it's evaluating the draft rule with its members. Okay. It's good news. Okay. You look at it and yeah, I agree. Part of it is definitely for remote ID, for expanding that. And what else you do is this. Okay. A lot of times, like on ham radio, usually with the more expensive transceivers rigs that you have at home, okay, they have really good filters to filter out adjacent channels. Okay. But a lot of times, if you're talking to somebody and someone's on the channel right next to you, and I'm simplifying things for my audience here, you can get some bleed over. Okay. And it can go both ways. Okay. And what this is doing, and they also, as they brought up too, this can cause interference, and it can cause interference with our unmanned aircraft as well too. So, all this is being said, this is a good move. Okay. And I'll also say this too. Unlike the FAA, I think the FCC has its act together. And I think I've mentioned to you guys, for my ham radio license, I got it back in 2015. Was when I got my amateur extra. It's good for 10 years. And what I have to do, all I have to do to renew it is pay $25, go out to the FCC's website, which is kind of daunting. It's a little daunting task. It's same. I know the FAA is kind of like that as well too. But I pay my fee and I'm done for another 10 years. That's all I have to do. No taking a retest or refresh exam or anything like that, which I think is great. I think they really do that here. But, on one hand, and on the other hand, I think it's good for us as remote pilots and 107 pilots to take that recurrent exam every couple of years, because I think it kind of keeps us on our toes and keeps us fresh. So I think that's a good idea. Ham radio, not so much. Those kind of rules don't really change. Although you do need to be careful with what you're doing, because a lot of people don't get it when, you should have your antenna at least 100 feet away from where you're broadcasting. Why? It puts out basically radiation. Okay. for lack of a better term. Okay, you just don't want to be absorbing those radio waves. It's the same as holding your cell phone up to your ear all the time, which I don't. I always talk on speakerphone or in the car. So anyway, okay, I said a mouthful about all that. I want to stop here. I know Ron's not with us, but I want to congratulate Drone Nation on hitting 1,000 subscribers. That is a tremendous accomplishment for you guys. So hats off to you guys. Congratulations. That's a great job, especially on a channel whose primary focus is just live streams. Okay. That is tremendous, guys.
Well, Bill, I know Ron will be in here in a few minutes, but I have to tell you, the credit really goes to Ron. He is the heart and soul of that channel. As you know, we started that about 4 years ago, and you were right there at the very beginning with us, Bill, as Xeno Nation. And we had a lot of fun with that, and we got that thing going, and it was, kind of struck a chord right off the bat. But it's kind of grown organically since then. And I'm proud to say that it's like your show, Bill. We talk about drones on that channel. That's the primary function of that channel. We don't get off too far into the weeds. Occasionally a little football, once in a while talking about hot rods or something like that. But for the most part, it's all drone discussion, and it's gratifying. And I want to thank you for your help, because you helped us a lot.
Oh, you're welcome.
And of course, everybody out there in the chat as well. Couldn't have done it without you. So thank you. And again, really, 90% of that credit goes to Mr. Ronald Thomas Brown.
Well, Ron does it. Ron, since the day I met him, I knew Ron was a very hard and dedicated to his task, and whatever task he set out to do, he does it well, and he dives into it, and he doesn't give it 90%. He's always 100% into it, and you bore the fruits of your labor. And it had to be frustrating, because it seemed like it was like 900, 980, 990.
Yeah.
It would just sit there for the longest time. It was just, it would just kind of like, okay, we're ready now.
Well, our good friend Johnny Alfonso kind of helped push us over the top yesterday. He got everybody riled up in the chat and said, come on, hit those subs, and it pushed it over. I think kind of coincidentally, it was on a night when Ron wasn't on the show.
Wasn't on the show.
Yeah, which really bummed me out. I think Ron needed to be there. And we need to give him a pat on the back when he gets on this show, because, as you know, Bill, one of the things that people don't understand, you don't just turn on your computer and have a show. You got to do your homework, and you got to get prepared. Oh, yeah. And Ron does all that work on Drone Nation. He sets the agenda. He figures out what we're going to talk about on that show. And as some people have said, my job is just to show up and smile. So, so that's what I do.
Well, no, your contribution is equally as important as Ron's, because, ever since I met you, you've been extremely likable. And one of the things I got to say, Marcus, you remind me so much of Ron, because you're very likable. You have a great presence, and you tell it like it is. Okay. And, I have a tendency to gravitate towards people like that. And that's why, your channel's done well. Ron's does well. And a lot of channels out there do well, because you just shoot things straight. And that's something I think everybody in the chat, and I know everybody who follows Drone Nation, really appreciates about you guys. So we'll talk more when Ron joins us here. So I just wanted to make sure that I mention this, so when we get off in the weeds. Now,
Yep.
Just a real quick side note. Unfortunately, Ron did not watch a good football game last night. It was pretty one-sided.
Well, so I wondered about that, Bill. I don't know, is Ron a Cowboys fan, or was he a Tampa Bay fan?
I think because Ron's an Eagles fan. Okay.
Well, yeah.
And the possibility of the Cowboys playing the Eagles is possible. In one of the playoff scenarios. So I think he's watching to find out to see how good the Cowboys were, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers certainly, they just stunk the joint up last night. It was bad. So it was just absolutely bad. 2 Florida teams out, 1 to go. That's right, Maddie. Okay. The other piece of news that we finally got a price on Autel's brand new drone. Okay. And boy, oh boy, Autel Evo Max 4T drone now available for pre-order. Okay. Priced at $8,999.
That's a bargain, Bill.
It is. It is. When you realize, and we went over last week, we talked about it. We went over the specs of this, what's on this, the capabilities, the functions. This is going to get snapped. This should get snapped up by first responder organizations without a doubt. It's just the capabilities of this drone is just off the charts. It really is. It's the only commercial drone available today to combine traditional binocular vision systems with millimeter level wave radar technology. The IP43 rated drone's onboard autonomy sensors can perceive objects down to 0.5 inches, thus eliminating blind spots and enabling operations in low light or rainy conditions. Okay, that's just it's gonna be a real godsend for first responders and those type organizations, Marcus. It really is.
Yep.
And it's going to be worth every penny, like you said. Of that I have absolutely, positively no doubt. Okay.
Yeah, I bet they'll sell a ton of them. One of the things that I think is important to us as consumers about that is that it shows that Autel they are serious about the drone business, and they're going to keep producing drones, and that's good for us consumers as well, because they just keep improving their product, and nothing wrong with that. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. And I also came across an interesting article, and we get these and we find these out. For example, I'm gonna get that up on the screen here. Okay. NOTAM. Okay. Notice to airmen. All right. And, this harkens back to when, believe it or not, back in the day before my oldest son was born, I was studying to get my private pilot's license. I was going to take lessons and become a private pilot. But then all of a sudden we had baby on the way, and I was told to put the kibosh to that. So that's what happened. But notice to airmen. Now, this gets into what happened with that FAA delay. But part of this involves us here as, remote pilots and recreational pilots. Because, for example, if the president of the United States comes to your area, okay, this information comes through this system, and it tells you there's an area that you cannot, they specify that area, you can't fly there, okay? And it's notice to airmen, okay? And it goes out to absolutely everybody. And there is Mr. Brown here.
Good evening.
Mr. Ron Brown.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Ron, before we go any further, I want to congratulate you on getting to, I already congratulated Marcus, but I want to congratulate you for getting to 1,000 subs.
Thank you, Bill.
Lots of hard work, lots of great effort, and you have, and also kudos to all your followers too, and subscribers, because they're with you guys week in and week out. And as I said to Marcus, it's not easy to have a basically, live stream only channel hit 1,000 subscribers. That's an excellent accomplishment. So, and I know it's a lot of that's due, and like Marcus said, you're the brains behind it. You're the one that started this baby way long ago, called Xeno Nation. Okay. And being there on board with you guys. It was
let me stop you for a second. And, it was you and Bill Thomas's recommendation that I start my own live stream years ago.
Mm-hmm. And I you know what? The drone community is better for it. I will say that without a doubt. Okay. No doubt about it. And it was a pleasure to help get you guys up on the right foot. And you guys have absolutely soared. You've done a fantastic job. You have great guests on all the time, great topics of conversation. Great people watching it week in and week out. And again, congratulations, Ron.
Yeah, I thank you sincerely, Bill. That's great of you to say all this stuff. I'm almost overwhelmed here. But something did come to my mind of a humorous nature. Remember the very first time I was ever on the Bill the Drone Reviewer show, the night that you got, what's that word called, where somebody called and said there was a crime at your house?
Swatted.
You guys swatted. That was my very first time ever on the Bill the Drone Reviewer show.
I'll never forget that. That was an experience, especially when I see deputies coming in with their guns drawn in my house. I'm like, whoa. Okay.
And for a while, Bill, you're carrying on. You're doing pretty good for a while. You're trying to carry on the show, and at one point you just had to shut things down.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were walking around, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to kind of shut stuff down. But yeah, that was a night I will never forget. That was
and really, me too. My first live stream on Bill the Drone Reviewer.
Yeah, that was tremendous. Go ahead, Marcus.
Hey, can we talk for a minute about the significance of getting the Drone Nation channel above 1,000 subs? Now, the first thing people think about is monetizing. Okay, great, and all that. That's all well and good, but there's way more to it than that. It changes. There's permissions now that change how you can name the channel, right? You can do that custom
or the logo handle,
handle, and then also Ron will now be able to set me up. I believe it's an administrator or something like that. So now I can upload directly to the channel. So one of the things that's happened in the past is when we wanted to do videos, I could put together a video, but I'd have to figure out a way to get it to Ron, and then Ron could upload it or whatever. Well, now we'll be able to solve those kind of problems. And I know there's some other administrative tasks.
I know there's little things like we can now go live from a mobile device.
Right. Yeah, there's a bunch of little things.
If we were live at an event such as Spin Up the Great Florida Drone Meetup, we could go live right from a phone now, where before we would have had to use the computer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And one of the things that's a real catch-22, because I was telling everybody before both you guys joined, was I easily hit 1,000 subscribers on my ham radio channel, but the problem with that, in terms of getting monetized, okay, you got to have 5,000 viewing hours, okay, and I've got maybe about 500 right now, which is good considering I just started this like 3-4 months ago.
You just need to do a whole bunch of 2 or 3 hour live streams.
Yeah, well, and I gotta say this too. I had my first live stream last week, and it was really, I had a total of 90 people watch it after the fact, which I thought was great.
Wow, great.
Had 10 people on. Floyd Moats watched us.
Floyd last
week.
Floyd's been a fan for a long time.
Yeah. So that was good. Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, I got another question for you, Bill, on the previous subject that you were just talking about on the NOTAMs and permissions to fly. So I got to ask. Well, in fact, I'll ask both of you guys. Do you look at the sectional chart every time before you fly? In other words, if you're going to a location that day, say in my case, I'm going out to the Snake River Canyon, looking for those NOTAMs, go on something like Sky Vector to see if there's any NOTAMs on Sky Vector before you go out. And let me answer for myself first. Honestly, I don't. But let me tell you what I do. I get on the Before You Fly app, and those NOTAMs will show up there. So you get into a location, you can just look on Before You Fly. And I realize Before You Fly is primarily for hobbyists, but it will tell you if there's any TFRs, etc., going on in that area. Mm-hmm. Now, what I do, and I expect you guys probably do the same, is if I have any question whatsoever, if I'm concerned in any way about whether I'm in an area that I should or should not be flying or need permissions or something, then I go on to Sky Vector and I look at the sectional chart and, make sure that, hey, yeah, okay, before you fly and the sectional chart agree, yeah, I can fly.
And I do the same thing as you, Marcus. I check the Before You Fly app. And let me say that is recommended by the FAA themselves.
It's their own app.
Drone Zone, whatever. It's a recommended app by them themselves. Right. And when I'm in my familiar area, you mentioned Sacred Road. When I go to the area I'm very familiar with, all I do is Before You Fly. If it's not any temporary flight restrictions or anything like that, I just take off. But if I'm in an unknown location, I don't. That sounds fishy. If I'm in a location where I've never flown before, sometimes I will double check another app, like maybe not Sky Vector, but I'll go to a loft. I believe it's still called Loft. Those guys change your Kitty Hawk. They change their name every time I use the app. But if it's my first time at a location, I'll verify with the second app, like a Loft, to make sure that there's no flight restrictions of any kind in that area.
So some of the things that you have to keep in mind, though, is like you don't know if you're next to a wildlife area or something, that the only way you're going to see that for sure is by looking at that sectional chart. But in any case,
yeah. Well, I don't know. Some of those apps, like I don't know if it's Before You Fly, but if you zoom in, it shows me the prisons and stuff like that in red where I can't fly.
Right. That's true.
And I know it is. I don't know which app, but there is some app that does show like wildlife refuges. Maybe it's a Loft or whatever, but you can find that some other places besides Sky Vector. But generally, if I'm flying my South Jersey area, I kind of know where all those things are.
And that's the thing.
Anyways,
right.
And so, but I want to get back to those NOTAMs last week when the FAA had that major outage and no planes were taking off at any place in the country that one morning until after 9 a.m. Before You Fly, when I opened it up during this crisis, said good to go, no problems at all. But when I opened up a Loft, it took a while because it was confused, but eventually it shut me down. I had, temporary, I had everything came up in that app that told me not to fly.
So let's clarify that for because I watched a program about that with regard to commercial aviation. A commercial aircraft could actually take off while that system was down. I mean, there's nothing that says they can't do it, but you still have to comply with all those NOTAMs. And if you don't know what they are, how can you? So that's what all the airlines themselves chose not to fly. And that would be the same thing with drones, right? If you're not sure, don't take off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can cause all kind of headaches and hassles and problems. And I was reading also today, there was a letter out to all the Southwest customers from their president, and talking about they're going to be spending $1 billion on software for their shortcomings. They put in quite a few, several patches right now. They're making up things to customers who were inconvenienced during this time. And guys, we lucked out. Valerie and I lucked out because, we left on Columbus on Saturday and everything started hitting the fan. It was like pretty much either Sunday or Monday when Southwest it just went south. It was just bad.
Well, can I go down just a little bit of a rabbit hole?
Go for it. Yeah.
Alaska Airlines called me today.
Oh my.
Yeah. How long after, a month after they shut down the flight. And by the way, we did finally get a hold of them and they refunded the price of our tickets and everything. But I wrote them a long letter, detailing what it did to our holiday, etc. And so this lady said, well, she asked me some questions and, what happened and, how did it affect you? And so, of course, I went into all the details and so forth. They're giving us a $75 credit.
Oh boy, that'll get you real far.
Yeah. So,
and Bill, I want to interject too that it's good to see Southwest Airlines reacting, but did they react before or after they got that stern letter from the Department of Transportation?
Well, this was Alaska Airlines, and,
well, I mean, but Bill mentioned Southwest
yeah,
before
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But they got a stern letter from the Department of Transportation about
Well,
making sure everybody got refunded, or they were going to crack down.
Well, one of the things, and this isn't political, okay? The transportation secretary, Buttigieg, whatever his name is, okay? Both sides of the aisle were furious at him, okay? Because he apparently knew about a lot of this stuff that was coming down the pike, and he could have done some things to help prevent this. So people on, and it's not really, this isn't really a political thing. It's really, it inconvenienced, everybody. It didn't discriminate. It inconvenienced everybody. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, with the notice airman, one of the things that I kind of want to go ahead, Marcus.
Well, just one more quick point. I'd see Charles Hatmaker is commenting that UAV forecast, and he's correct. UAV forecast, if you use that, it'll tell you proximity to airports and other things too. And I think there's even a map on there. So it's just another useful tool.
That's a good call, Charles.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
call.
that is a good that is something I've used before as well too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is part 2 to last week. All right. What could DJI release in 2023? And there was an article on Drone DJ, and I want to go over it. And it's kind of sort of the same, but there's a little bit more flavor to this. So I wanted to spend a few minutes here before we close out tonight to talk about this, because I think it's real worthy. Now, Ron, before you joined, and Marcus too, I found out. Okay, there was an article out there that said DJI mic, the singular mic and the one transmitter, were available on the website. So I go out to the website, not the case. Okay. However, I go out to B&H, it is available on B&H and not on DJI. All right. So they haven't updated their webpage for some reason. But that article, they took the article down. I don't know why. Okay. That I don't know why. So okay. All right.
Well, that was a strange thing, Bill. Last week, I looked the day it was supposed to come out, and you could not buy the mic, but it made a reference to a $200 mic system. And then a couple of days later, I called Marcus, and it was available, and I had put it in my cart by going to Weekend. You could move that single mic into your cart.
Okay.
But yeah. I mean it was there, and it was there. It was definitely the old shell game, Bill.
Yeah, and now it's not there again, because I went out and I searched through there, and it's just the mic with the 2 transmitters like Marcus has. They don't. The other one's not available.
Well, you think it sells out that instantaneously?
Yeah.
Why didn't you spend the extra $100 and get that self-charging box
case? Marcus and I talked about this. Even if you never ever use a second microphone, it's extra worth $100 just to get that case, a charging case.
Right. That charging case is worth the price for sure.
It's golden.
Having that second one here. Okay, now they're talking about here we go again. Deals Drone predicts DJI will release 4 new drones this year. Inspire 3 in March, Air 3 in May, Matrice 350T in June, Mavic 3S in July. Inspire 3, it's been in the rumor mill for a long while. Long way to success in Inspire 2 is finishing up development. DJI is in the process of filming its promo video. What will be new on the Inspire 3 is unknown. The current drone already has the bells and whistles you need for cinematic productions. However, it's rumored the Inspire 3 will be larger than its predecessor and most likely bring updates or smart features and more payload capacity, okay? Which means the camera system. And if it's going to be bigger, I don't see how it could really, it can be bigger than an Inspire 2, but that's going to make it just beyond insane as far as the size of that is concerned.
Yeah, I mean a full frame on a drone, and I don't mean a full frame with a camera, kind of tagged on like the Sony system, but I mean a built-in full frame camera, I mean I know those cameras come on all, but one that you don't mount like a big camera on it, it's just the camera just for the drone. That's quite shocking. Hey, Bill, can I divert you just for 1 second here? I don't know if I can't get you to see here, but I told you I put the single mic in my cart. It's still there in the cart. I could order it right now.
Oh, wow.
There. And here's something I talked to Marcus about too. all the information you probably gave is searching from the website on the computer. Lots of times, even when it comes to ordering drones, they're on DJI Store app on your phone. The availability sometimes is better there. It's sooner there, and here in this case, it's right there. I could buy it now. So sometimes go to the DJI app on your phone, not the website.
That's a good point, Ron. That's a really good point. A lot of people can pick up on something like that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Now,
how's that iPhone 14 treating you, Ron?
Good. I've had it about a week now, and of course, I haven't got test camera out because it's been, you don't go outside weather, and I don't shoot a lot of indoors. But I've never had an always on phone before, so now I've got an always on phone, always on watch. So that's kind of nice. You're right. I get a little bit less battery life because of the always on feature, but I'm willing to sacrifice that for the always on. I mean, I'm not one of those people that runs my phone down to nothing all the time. Anyway, so
you just have to think about it a little more. I came from the 13 Max to just the 14 Pro, and smaller battery, and now with the always on, it does.
I can't wait to try it on a drone, like the Altel or the Mini 2, one of my older drones that don't have a smart controller, to see how that works. But but we're diverting Bill's.
Sorry, Bill.
Go on with your Inspire 3 full frame.
Yeah, and in terms of like pricing, now we had heard that it was going to be released late last year in 2022.
Yeah, we all thought fourth quarter.
Yeah, we all thought it was like going to be like a November type release, but it didn't materialize. But one of the things that I can really say with kind of fairly certain about this, I think you're going to see this. You're looking at around. You're probably going to push $20,000+ for something like this. It's going to have the bells and whistles on it, but you're going to pay for it.
You know what else we can say for certain? Lauren has been flying it for a while. Now,
I don't have any doubt about that.
He's in the chat now. Don't violate his DNA now.
Now see, Lauren's been posting, and if you look on his Facebook page, he's been posting, the weather's bad and he can't fly, but that's really kind of code word for he's probably out there flying. Lauren, we're messing with you.
Here's the thing: if Lauren was under NDA, he wouldn't be in the chat over here right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, but one last comment on the Inspire 3, and we everybody thought it was going to be fourth quarter, and now it's going to come in the first quarter of 2023. This is my personal opinion. This is not based on any knowledge or fact, but when they throw those consumer drones out like the Mini 3 Pro and that, and they have a whole bunch of like little firmware problems right out of the box. It's probably not that important because mostly just consumers are buying them. But I believe when an Aspire drone comes out, the professionals want to get it right away and get it in use. They can't be dealing with a whole bunch of little issues or whatever. So they probably test the Inspire 3 a little more thoroughly than they do our consumer grade drones, because just like you said, the $20,000, those professionals, they need to have it up and running. They don't need to be sidelined by needing a whole bunch of patches and firmware.
That's an excellent point, Ron. And and for those of you, if some of you are familiar, with this, forgive me, but like an Inspire 2, it has multiple things that need to have firmware updates on it. Okay, it's not just the drone itself. There's the battery, there's the camera, there's other parts of the operating system. There are multiple things on there.
Hey, Marcus, like the old Hops and Zeno, remember you had to do 3 separate firmware updates for the drone, the camera, and the batteries?
Oh my God, was that that was an operation.
All with different software.
Yeah. And see that's where that is on that. So we'll move on. The Air 3. The article talked about the guy hated them making a Mavic 3 Classic because it made the airline feel useless. Will it be? He said, "Here's some items he hopes it includes," and this is just him. Greater than 20 megapixel camera, a must. Active Track 5.0, yes. 6K video, sure, why not? 4K 120 frames per second would be nice. 30 to 40 minutes flight time, most likely.
Hey,
Here's
Bill.
what he missed, Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead,
Go ahead,
Ron.
Marcus. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the one that he missed. Yeah, increased flight time. Yeah, is probably the biggest one. 4K 120, but vertical video. I guarantee you.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
That would be, and that would give it and hold that back from the Mavic 3 series to give it a more consumer feature. But that greater than 20 mega camera, I wonder if he thought this out. Like the cameras, like the Mini 3 and the not the Anafi, the little Altel Nano, they claim to have 48 and 50 megapixel cameras, but they're really 12 megapixel cameras, and they're doing that whatever, where they shoot the same thing a bunch of times and get all those megapixels.
HDR.
Yeah, a true 20 megapixel camera is better than those 48 and 50 megapixel cameras you see in the smaller drones, because they're using software to do that, not hardware. So if he means that this would get a 48 or 50, we don't want to see that, because that means it's going to be probably a 12 megapixel camera and not this 20 megapixel.
Yeah, with 20, and that's a good point, Ron. A lot of people are like, they look at those high numbers for megapixels and they're like, wow, that's a drone I want. And it's just like, do some more checking, do some more reading, find out how you get that, versus a drone like this. If it's a true 20 megapixels with the hardware and the camera, yeah, that's going to have some really crisp, sharp, clear images from that.
It's not on this list, Bill, but I think we talked about this a little bit last week. They also maybe need to increase the obstacle avoidance a little bit more on the Air 3, not all the way to the Mavic 3 level, but just a little bit more than it has now.
Man, it's really good right now.
And it is good now. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like,
but they could put more fisheyes on there, Marcus, and get even more kind of side
I agree.
and coverage.
Yeah, there's potential there. Yeah, there's no better is always good, and
And we don't. I'm gonna make this real fast, because Marcus, I get on a high horse about this. All the people that say, "Oh, we don't want obstacle avoidance. Real pilots don't need obstacle avoidance," or and tracking whatever. And we want the obstacle avoidance for when we're doing things like focus tracking, whatever, orbiting and things like that, where it's flying manually, whatever. That's why it's good to have things like tracking, obstacle avoidance. It allows the automated flight features to perform much better and safer.
Spotlight mode in particular, where you're highlighting a point of interest, you're flying the drone, but if you have good OA on the drone, a couple things, often you're flying sideways or whatever, so you're not worried about going sideways into a tree or a building or something like that. And it's also that intelligence that keeps that point of interest right in center frame, or like you can do in DJI, you can put that point of interest in whatever corner of the frame you want. But that's the stuff that is.
I mean, yes. I mean, 75% of my flights, I don't need obstacle avoidance, but when I want tracking obstacle avoidance, I want it.
Right.
I want it to work real well.
Right.
That's a great point. And I'm gonna interject here. With the Mavic 3, I had it up and I was doing Waypoints, Hyperlapse with Waypoints. Okay, because that's been on there for a while.
Yeah.
And while I was going to the third waypoint to do the hyperlapse, there was a bird, and I saw it very quickly, and obstacle avoidance kicked in, and the drone stopped instantly. Okay.
Wow.
Even with my hand on the stick, it stopped instantly, and then I just engaged, return to home right there, because I saw it was like one of those, you just saw it real quick, and I knew exactly what it was, and I said, I'm coming back. And that's what
Hyperlapse is another great example, Bill. If you're running a hyperlapse, and say you make a mistake in your program of the hyperlapse and you have it going towards some kind of object, the obstacle avoidance will not let the hyperlapse fly right into a building, a tree, anything that's big enough for it to see. So
let me give you a better example of that, Ron. So you're programming the thing and you're setting altitude, right? So you're doing it on the map. On that map, you may not know that tree is 35 meters high and you have the drone at 30 meters. So that's what Ron is getting at there. So
yeah, that's very important. And that's a great point, Marcus. Both you guys, this is excellent. And that's why, a lot of people poo-poo, obstacle avoidance. I don't need it, rough and tumble, blah, 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 but hey, how many times, and here's probably one of the greatest examples, if you're, for instance, you're doing a droney and you're pulling back on that stick and you don't see something behind you, okay, you're gonna run into it because you don't have that vision in behind you. But if you have rear facing obstacle avoidance, it's gonna stop and it'll beep, and then you'll know there's something behind you, and it says, you'll see that error come up or that warning message pop up on your screen. So that's why I'm always a big fan of that. And I agree, Ron, with what you said, with what Marcus said as well.
And most of the drones that we fly and talk about, you could turn obstacle avoidance off.
Yes. And the last thing, on the Air 3 before we move on here, one of the big things, and I think we had talked about it last week as well, is pricing on this. And pricing is going to be really, really huge on this, Ron, because they need to make sure, okay, like with a base model and a base controller, that you can at least, for maybe like $899, $999, something, as long as it's under $1,000. I think that's super important for this kind of drone, because if they go over that $1,000 threshold with just a base package, it's going to cause a lot of people to pause. Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, Bill, I don't disagree with your thinking whatsoever, but I bet you it'll be more than $1,000. I bet you we're looking more like 1,200. That's just
but they have to find a sweet spot somewhere between the Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3 Classic. They have to find a sweet spot in there that would entice somebody that buy either one instead.
Let me tell you what that'll be, Ron. It'll be a feature. It'll be a feature that DJI puts on that drone that everybody goes, wow, I got to have that.
Right.
And Marcus says this every time, and he's right, because DJI will always put something on there that you didn't know that you needed till you read about it. Okay. And then I gotta have it. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, the guy I have it here is going to be the 30, 35, 40-minute flight time is going to be the
vertical video.
And that will be, but I mean, the battery will be the real home run, because just as many people, I don't like TikTok or whatever. So, you'll have that crowd too. But yeah, I kind of maybe agree with Marcus a little bit. I think the base package is still going to be under at least over 1,000, because, you can't put, it's hard to put, version, another version up for version 2 to 3 here. It's hard to move up a version without raising it at all. And it's $999 now with just the one battery, basic controller and drone, right? So right there, bare minimum 1,050, you got to have some price increase.
Hey, before we get off the Air series real quick, and I keep, to me, the Air 2S right now is the ultimate travel drone because of the size and all the features, and it's powerful. I'm going to take it with me before I'm going to take the Mini 3 Pro or something like that. It's the same size. It's more powerful. It has, other than vertical video, has honestly more features and a better camera, that 1-inch sensor. So anyway, that aside, they've already got a really great drone. So whatever they make with the Air 3 is going to have to be something special.
For air travel, it's probably the sweet spot.
I agree. That's a perfect travel drone. That's an excellent point, Marcus. Thank you for bringing that up.
Again, air travel. If you're riding your giant Tahoe, it doesn't matter what drone you take along, right, Marcus?
That's a big 10-4. Hell, I'll put that Inspire 3 back there.
Ooh, Marcus is the one that has a bill. He's the one testing it, not Lauren.
There you go. There you go. We're going to finish up here real quick. A Trees 350T, they're saying it'll be an upgraded version of the M300. Mavic 3S, and he was kind of spitballing with a new version of Active Track, or bring Active Track to telecamera.
And surpass the Skydio.
Surpass Skydio. Goggles SE in Motion 2, which we already know about. And then new DJI cameras and gimbals in 2023. We already know the DJI RS3 Mini is there.
369, Bill.
Yeah. And then the Pocket 3 possibly in April, Osmo Mobile 7 in October, maybe even a 5K video. So
this list, Bill, which we talked about what products you're looking for. Is there any product on this list that you think may not make it out the gate this year, that we may not see show up?
Okay, I'm thinking maybe some of the cameras. I think some of the cameras and maybe the Mavic 3S. Okay, and the reason I say this Mavic 3S is they may determine that there's not a marketing segment for this drone. Okay, um, the price point on this S, who knows what that indicates. If they're taking after the Air 2 series with the S, it would have some upgraded features. If it's a Mavic 3 with upgraded features, who knows? Okay, but my guess would be maybe like a Pocket 3 or an Osmo, and then this Mavic 3S. I think definitely you're going to see a new Air 3 this year. I think also one of the things you'll see that they don't even talk about on this list, there's going to be a Mini 3 SE, okay? Because the Mini SE did really well in terms of sales, and at price point, you couldn't pass it up. And I think if the DJI does it right, they'll hit a home run with like a Mini 3 SE.
And the SEs never make this type of list or speculation, whatever. They kind of just pop out.
They just show up.
They just show up, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, all right, we're gonna have some closing thoughts here, but Ron, I have to ask you this question, okay?
Yes.
I know you took a sabbatical from Drone Nation last night to watch football.
Yes.
I have to say,
I do a little scratchy throat again. My cold did come back, so I may have not had an hour talk again, but the main reason was to watch the ball game. I'm sorry about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but what could you really expect from an 8 and 9 team entering the playoffs?
Yeah, the whole concept of a team with a losing record in the playoffs, it just boggles my mind how that even happened. And let's face it, okay, Tom Brady is probably the greatest of all time, but boy, oh boy, he played worse than a rookie quarterback last night.
He didn't have too much help around him either, though.
No, he did not. He had the only person he had helping him was the Cowboys kicker last night, missing those 4 extra points.
Have you ever seen anything like that, Bill?
4 extra points? Never, Ron. I've never seen that.
What's your boy in Pittsburgh? What's his name again? Your coach?
Tomlin.
What was he the kicker coach last night or something?
He must have been. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was just.
What do you think about them letting him keep kicking though? Because I kept saying, "Well, go for the 2 points," but then
go for a 2-point conversion.
Well, you know what? They're so far ahead; they'd rather just have him work it out in the game because they don't need the 2 points.
Well, I'll say this, and then we'll get to closing comments. Okay, there was nothing weather-wise to. I mean, it was kind of probably a 50-degree night, it's a little chilly, but there was no wind to speak of and no precipitation. So really, there were no outside mitigating factors why he did what he did. It was probably up there.
You think Dallas is working making phone calls to unemployed kickers this week?
They might. I mean, I don't know. Steelers had their share. Marcus, any closing thoughts?
Yeah. Well, get out there and fly your drones and have fun. I see we got some weather going across the nation right now, so you may or may not be able to do it. But get out there and have fun. There's really not a lot, unless we hear some more about an Air 3S or something like that. Not a lot of things on the horizon. A lot of great products out there. I've talked about that Air 2S already. It's a 2-year-old drone. It still puts a big grin on my face every time I get out there and fly it. So fly what you got and have fun, and get your tickets and get ready for the South Florida drone meetup.
Absolutely.
April 1st.
That's coming. Coming.
Weather guaranteed to be perfect that weekend. I want to echo Mark said. We talk about drones coming out here, but we probably won't see our first consumer drone release of the year until April or whatever, probably late. We say April. It's never like April 1st, but it's going to be more like the end of April. So, the drones you have now, if you have good weather, get out and fly what you have now, enjoy them, and worry about, the Air 3 at the end of April. And, one last question, Bill, would Roy Girella be available for the Cowboys to sign?
He might just be, or their other kicker that they had during Cowher's days, Jeff Reed. Okay, you remember him? Okay.
I kind of don't. But Roy Jarrell is the one I remember from when I was a kid. Didn't he have his own army? Roy Jarrell's army and
Jarrella's Gorillas.
Gorillas. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to echo what these guys said. If you have nice weather, get out there and fly. We had actually, it was this weekend. We had frost, which it was my furnace was running all weekend long. Okay. And I was drinking hot tea all weekend long. I mean, it was just no shorts. I haven't worn shorts for probably almost 2 months now. Okay.
I got on Captain Ray the other day when he posted a video or something there. He's in his big, heavy looking hoodie. And I'm saying, hey, what's up with that hoodie in sunny Florida there, Captain Ray?
Yeah. It's this time of year. It's very deceiving in terms of the weather, because say it's like 50 degrees out, because of the moisture in the air, it really feels like it's 40 degrees out. I mean, it's.
Hey, before we let you go, what's your prediction for the last Florida team in the playoffs, the Jacksonville Jaguars? Wasn't that a surprise?
Whoa, their quarterback really surprised me. He's thrown 4 picks and then he throws 4 touchdowns. Wow. What a way to
They got a chance this weekend?
Kansas City's tough. Mahomes is tough. I don't see that. I see the championship game being Kansas City and Buffalo. And by the way, do you know where that game will be played?
They're going to move it to a neutral site, right?
It'd be in Atlanta. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Tampa Bay.
Yeah. That would be wonderful. I would go in a heartbeat. But I think it's going to be Buffalo and Kansas City for the championship. And for
don't underestimate Cincinnati. They can when they're hot, they're hot.
I don't see them getting past. But for NFC, I see the Eagles and
49ers.
Definitely for the championship. So that's me. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Enjoy what you got. Have fun. And remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.